Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have my iced coffee ready to go. You guys know the drill with that. I already went ahead and moisturized and primed my skin with the Vitamin Enriched Face Base by Bobbi Brown. This is what the packaging looks like. This is the Infallible Fresh Foundation 24-hour wear. So as always, I'm going to do half of my face with a brush and then the other half with a beauty blender. I really want to know if there's a difference between the original Pro Matte 24-hour wear and this one. So this one comes in 30 different shades. It is a 24-hour fresh staying power. It is very lightweight. It says it has a natural finish, breathable texture. It does have SPF 25. And it also says it is sweat proof, humidity proof, shine proof, and all of that proof. So the claims seem very identical to my Estee Lauder Double Wear, which you guys know that this is my all-time favorite foundation. I swear by it. And then my all-time favorite foundation from the drugstore is this one. So this one is the original version of this one. This is the Loreal Infallible Pro Matte 24-hour wear. I really don't see the point of making a fresh wear. They have pretty much the same identical claims, so I feel like this one is just gonna be more lightweight because of the word fresh in it, but I don't know, we'll see. The only difference that I see between this one is that the pump is to the side, where normally it's like to the front, or yeah, it's normally like to the front. This is my all-time favorite foundation brush. This is the Slanted Flat Top BH Cosmetics 117. This is perfect. It's not too big and it's not too small. And I love the way that it buffs out product. I have like 4 years with these brushes. Best brushes ever. So a little background on my skin in case you are new here or you did not know. I do have large, super large and intense pores around my nose and my cheek area. I also have rosacea all right here. That's the whole separation going on. Sometimes it's like more intense than other days. Other days it's not too intense, but I'm normally super red right here. And I do have an oily T-zone. Other than that, the rest of my face is normal to drier. Right now that it's getting a little bit colder here in Vegas, I tend to get a little bit more drier around my skin and then oily on my T-zone. Now that we have that out of the way, we're just gonna go ahead and jump into the foundation. So as always, every foundation review, I don't really have time to do a wear test, but I do try to wear the foundations a couple days before to kind of test them out different ways and kind of see the longevity and all of that good stuff. So I have tried this foundation. I tried it for a good 14 hours the other day. So I kind of know the lasting power that it has and all of that jazz, which I'll talk about throughout the video. I'm just gonna go ahead and pump one pump. And definitely the shade is not my shade, and it is also very runny. I'm pretty sure you guys can see that. So this one in particular is runnier than the original Pro Matte. The Pro Matte has a little bit more of a moussey, a little bit of a thicker consistency than this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply one pump to this side of my face. So on this side of my face, I'm gonna go ahead and use a beauty blender. So you guys can see Natural Buff is definitely not my shade. I feel like I could have gone a little bit lighter. It blends out really nicely. As you guys can see, I have no trouble blending the product because it is a much more runny consistency, like I said. And something I will say is that I did notice this foundation to be more of a lightweight. So it definitely is more of a lightweight than the original one. I do like my foundations to be full coverage just because I have a lot to cover. I obviously do not have acne or anything like that, but I do have, like I said, my rosacea in my pores, which is usually my problematic area right here. Foundations usually sink into my pores, so when I find a holy grail foundation that doesn't do that to me, I stick with it. So this is what one layer is looking like on my skin. I feel like it gave me light to medium coverage. You can definitely still see my freckles here, and my redness is still peeking through. But other than that, I feel like it covered really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing on this side. One pump, back of my hand. So for this side, I'm gonna go in with a brush. Alright guys, so this is the side with the brush. I feel like it gave me the exact same amount of coverage on both sides. I feel like it's still like a light to medium finish. I wouldn't say it's full coverage yet. So yeah, so this is what my skin is looking like. This side is definitely transferring. So I will set this one with a powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to build this with my beauty blender, because the beauty blender is normally what I would go in with. I just feel like it gives me a much more natural finish. I like foundation brushes for stick foundations. So I'm just gonna take one pump. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I really do like the Infallible Pro Matte better, just because I feel like it gives me a much more fuller coverage off of like one complete layer. This one I did have to build it, so I feel like I use more product and it is a little bit on the runnier side, whereas the other one is a little bit on the thicker, but it still feels really lightweight. Does seem to have like that natural finish. I'm gonna go ahead and conceal on camera with you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and use the 12-Hour Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer by the brand Catrice. This has been my jam lately, so I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some underneath the eyes. As always, if the foundation isn't like super full coverage like you want it to, you can always conceal and you kind of get full coverage. And to blend the under eye concealer, I'm gonna go ahead and take a small stippling brush. This is a concealer brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and work in little circular motions right here where I have the larger and intense pores, and then I'm gonna go in and smooth everything out with the beauty blender. But I just feel like it really hides my pores when I do this. It kind of like blends everything out and it makes everything look seamless. Then again, a brush does give you a little bit more fuller coverage than a sponge, so that's why I do like to go in with a brush first. Now I'm taking my beauty blender and just blending this out. So I do find that the longer the foundation sits on your skin, it starts to dry a little bit more to a semi-matte finish. To set everything, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Derma Blend setting powder and set underneath my eye area. Basically just going to set my entire face with this powder using whatever is left. I also like to set my brows just because I don't really have any hairs. I mean, they're growing. We're better than we were a couple years ago, but I don't really have hair, so I like to set them. And also that just helps the pomade to get a grip and not slide everywhere. So this is what my face is looking like. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face makeup and then come back and give you guys my final thoughts on the brand new Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Foundation. Alright guys, so I went ahead and finished the rest of my face makeup. As you guys can see, everything looks pretty darn good. Everything blended out really nicely on top of the foundation. The only thing I will say with this foundation is that I feel like your oily skin, you definitely have to set this with a powder. Like I said in the beginning, I wore it for a full 14 hours and I didn't really see any shine or anything like that. It actually looked a little bit drier than the original Pro Matte. The only thing is that for my skin type, I just feel like the Pro Matte looks a little bit more fresh. It looks kind of like a dew from within, but it still looks pretty matte. I love this one. This is by far, I feel like I have so many years of saying that this is my favorite drugstore foundation, and hands down, it is my favorite drugstore foundation. For like a 14-hour wear, it still looked pretty fresh. I didn't have any shine on my face whatsoever. It just didn't look, I feel like it looked a little bit more matte than what I would have liked, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying matte all over my skin. It just looked a little bit more matte around my skin. But I'm gonna have to stick with my Pro Matte, you guys. But yeah, those were my final thoughts. If you do plan on picking it up, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you already tried it, what do you think? I wanna know. But yeah guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you guys tomorrow in a makeup tutorial. Bye guys.